Well, welcome back, Therapy Flow community. We're in for an exciting conversation on a topic that seems to never run dry of interesting answers to.
Yeah. Um, Hey Josh, I think you're a little bit laggy there. And I think we're
Running
still
into
live. So
some.
hey Josh, do we still got you? We'll give it just a second here. All right. Hey Josh, I think we got you back here. So today's topic, real quick, I'll go ahead and pop in just a little bit of information, but I think you prefaced it pretty well. This is a topic that never really runs dry with interesting opinions and interesting stories, and that is directory profiles, directory profile success. Some of you have seen some of the glamour and awesomeness from running an amazing profile. Some of you have only heard the whispers of what it could possibly be. And so, as we're kind of diving in, we'll set sort of psychology today as the focal point. However, it's not the only one out there. It just happens to be one of the biggest ones out there. And when we're talking about big, we're talking about people who are potential therapy clients who are visiting the website. And so, if you are serving people who are looking for therapy services, Psych Today is going to be an awesome marketplace. It's kind of like going to a food court. People who go to a food court are hungry people. And so the people in a food court are probably hungry, which means you can serve them in some capacity if you are providing food, right? And so if you're providing therapy services, people go to the food court at the mall and go get their food. So it's a good idea to be at the food court. You don't want to be like in between the area and the hot topic on the side of the mall serving food because that's probably not where people are super hungry at. Okay. So keep that in mind as we're kind of going into this. This is a hot place to be.
Yeah. Well, thanks for holding down the fort, Attilio. I'm back. Yeah, we're going to dig into psychology today, the other listing sites, and a lot of what we talk about, some of it will even apply to like your website in terms of content strategies, just some thought processes here, because in some ways, these listing sites, Psychology Today, they're just little mini websites. They drive massive traffic, right, by running ads and doing SEO and doing all the things you can individually do just to their larger provider. They've made a name for themselves, they match you up, and they send referrals your way. And so I think one of the first places to start with this conversation is just return on investment. The question is never ending. Is it still worth it to pay 30 bucks a month or whatever it is? Should I be on multiple listing sites? Is it worth the return on investment? And I think there's two things we need to understand here, the short answer and the long answer. The short answer is yes, Attilio and I believe that you can and you should be on these listing sites if done correctly. And that's the long answer. If you just put your profile on there and expect to get inquiries, it's a very, very crowded marketplace. So now it comes into the conversation is what are the things we have to focus on to make sure we get a return on investment, and really how do we even define return on investment? How much do we need to get from it for it to be worth it, Attilio?
Yeah, I want to break this down in a couple ways here. So $30 a month, like if we as business owners are committed to our business, we know that generating new clients is it's the gasoline to our car, right? And so marketing is not something you do in seasons. Marketing is a habit, right? This is something that you know you have to do. This is something you know you have to do, and maybe it's a pain in the butt to pay it. It's like the electric bill. Nobody wants to pay their electric bill, but you have to pay your electric bill if you want hot water and whatever else you use your electricity for. So it's kind of like one of those situations. The other way to look at this is just the raw nuts and bolts numbers, the numbers of the dollars and cents going in and dollars and cents going out. And so if your dollars and cents going in is 30 bucks and you look at this for like the year, we'll say, $30 times 12. I'm not the mathematician here. So let me go ahead and bust out my calculator. 30 times 12 is going to be 360 bucks. If you guys get one session, 1 to 2 sessions from this, from Psych Today, you're paid for the year, and that's just a couple sessions. And so imagine you get a client who's going to stick around with you. I mean, that one client can fully bankroll your subscription to the platform for years and years to come. So I would encourage you to look at it like that. Look at it in the long term, and consider it a strategy. This isn't just something you set and forget and hope it works. That's not marketing. That's gambling. We don't hope something works. We take action and affect it. That's marketing. So if you want to stop gambling and you want to start marketing, look at how you can affect the platform. The dollars and cents make sense, right? It's $30, you get a couple sessions, you're paid for the year. So just consider it like that. That'd be how I do the math there.
100%. I didn't hear most of what you said, but I imagine it was beautiful and
Thank you.
perfect because it typically is.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But kind of moving into the next bracket of things, we'll see if I stick around for it. Is talking about what we'll call operationalizing or commoditizing for kind of an interesting word. If you're a group practice owner, the individual therapists on your team. I heard the other day from a therapist that I was on a sales call with, and to be very, very kind to them, they were like, I have an amazing listing site and I get all of these referrals from my Psychology Today and these other places, but my therapists, they don't have good listing sites. They've never written good listing sites and they don't get any inquiries from it. If you pay for their Psychology Today or a couple other sources, you should slow down and take the time to help them write an amazing profile and get on these listing sites, because that's going to benefit you if their caseload is more full and you have to spend less marketing in other places. So Tilio, maybe you can talk a little bit more about how do we consistently work with our therapists to help them craft rate content and stay on top of this strategy.
Yeah. First of all, if you're a group, you should be paying for your clinician psych today. This is a way for you to just create immense consistency across the board for your private practice. All of the inquiries should be leading to your front desk. So if you have a few profiles out there, all of them should have the same front desk phone number. All of them should have the same front desk email. And
Yeah.
so this is just, you're creating a big net or a footprint. You're creating an area of real estate on this digital platform, which is Psych Today or one of the other platforms that you guys are using. So keep that in mind. You create consistency by having a larger footprint. Okay. So if you want to be hot and cold with it, you just are all over the place with the strategy. Okay. So we want to create higher consistency by getting a larger real estate or footprint in the inside of the listing site there. Okay. Beyond that, if you are complaining about your clinicians' profiles, I think it's absolutely the practice owner's responsibility to be sort of the tastemaker, right? You're the one who has to set the standard. You're the one who has to set higher expectations. And if you want more, quite frankly, you have to make more. Okay. So beyond your clinician providing you general information about the type of clients that they want, how they serve, their philosophy, XYZ, the unique selling points that maybe they carry, it's your responsibility to know what is marketable and what is not marketable. If you're saying things and you're aware enough that the profile is not good, you should go in there and make improvements, right? It's your responsibility to maximize those dollars that you're spending and the time and energy that your clinicians are spending and your staff is spending. Like, you are the one who's responsible for maximizing that. At least until you have executive level people on staff who are going
Yeah.
to make decisions and think with you. So keep that in mind. That's how I would handle that strategy as a group. I would control all of the assets. I would pay for it all. It's relatively low priced considering how many sessions you may acquire from these. And then I would go out and try to affect those profiles, right? Take action on those profiles and concentrate all of the phone calls and emails that you're getting so that way you can effectively operate your engine in a consistent and streamlined way.
Yeah. And a couple practical tips on how to do this, like the rhythms. I'd say make sure you have a preset template. So if a new therapist joins your team, they might have a Psychology Today or other listing sites. Great. Don't let them keep, make them reshape it to your brand and your process. Even if it's well written, make sure it kind of has your specific therapy LLC brand attached to it, so they kind of revamp it even if it exists. Every therapist who comes into your practice follows best practice that gets done in the first week to 3 weeks. Make it a part of their onboarding, their training necessity, right? From there, I'd say probably every 3 to 6 months, 6 months on the probably on the better end, we probably make small updates, small tweaks. Maybe we to 2 hour little all hands in virtual party or in-person party for revamping and making updates for our practice. And then, especially, most therapists don't have great headshots. So, if you're a group practice owner, once a year, maybe every time a new therapist joins your team, get them, provide the resources to them, either the money and or the physical photographer, to get them a good headshot. So all the rhythms are in place. Every 6 months, we make updates. Every new person who joins your teams follows a new template and taken for every single person and updated.
Yeah. I think my only thing that I might change on that is when you're updating and bringing on new clinicians, maybe set a standard for yourself about what is working and what isn't working, right? So if this person has a profile and they're coming in and their profile, they say it's working, right? Well, what's your standard for working versus what's their standard for working? And then if their profile is working really, really, really well, maybe don't change anything, right? Don't fix it if it's not broken. And maybe we can actually learn from the profile. So maybe there's elements, maybe, Johnny's doing really well on his profile and Cindy's not doing so hot, but maybe there's elements on Johnny's profile that we can learn from to apply on Cindy's. And so we can look at and create sort of mental frameworks or even take notes on the frameworks of things and profiles that are working. Psych Today is really awesome that it gives you data. So many of you guys have not looked at the analytics that Psych Today provides you with, and I'll give you just some hard and fast rules. The information it gives you is like how many views you got, how many clicks on your profile did you get, and then how many calls, emails, or visits to your website did you get. And so those would, establish percentages for that pipeline. So views to clicks, maybe like 2.5% is a good indicator that something is kind of working on some of the preliminary visible elements, which is like your headline, your headshot, and the first couple sentences for the profile. And then beyond that 2.5% is going to be how many people saw the profile. So, like, clicked on the profile, viewed the profile, and then actually ended up converting in some capacity. So, visiting the website, hitting the email, hitting the call button. Those are going to be maybe like 10% of those people is probably a good place to start there. So, of the people who actually land on the profile, read through, they should be converting at about 10%. That's a good indicator that that's a good profile. Okay.
Yeah. And just as a tip here, if it's been a long time since this has been done in your practice or for all of your therapists, now's the perfect time as an excuse. Hey, Therapy Flow told person in our practice before January 1st, we need to update all of the profiles. So
Yeah.
let's go do that. We've got about, 2, 3 weeks here. Get your therapist, do it yourself, do a little fun refresh, and maybe, give them some good news that you're gonna get a photographer to come into the office for February, get those headshots done too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't really talk much about content. What I'd say is we could do an entire an entire planning Facebook Live video on content nuts and bolts. Today, actually, we released the 7.
Oh, I think we lost you, Josh. We released the 7 pillars of an effective Psychology Today profile. I'm sure as soon as Josh pops back in here, I don't know if it's storming over there or what, but the internet's not working so hot today for him. But he'll maybe let you know how to opt in for that or grab that. Maybe just leave a comment below this video wherever you're seeing it, and I'm sure we'll be able to find a way to get you those. I believe it's 7 emails. There's really cool. It's just like a little sequence you can kind of blaze through and get all 7 emails. And there's just some additional information along with each of those pillars. So hopefully all of that is going to be really helpful. It'll go through things like the content or copy edits that you can make. We've set up templates and even prompts to be able to